Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh. Hope you're doing good, hope you're feeling well. And yes, I'm in a new studio set today. Thank you for asking, absolutely nobody. Today, I wanted to try something else and share with you my next big $100,000 investment. And I promise this time it is not about Pokemon cards. And if you watch this video with an open mind, I promise you'll learn something new. But having said that, please remember this is not personal or financial advice of any sort. This is just me sharing with you what I'm doing with my money. Void where prohibited, except in Indiana. So having said that, this is what I did. I wired almost $100,000 into Gemini where I purchased BTC. That's right, Bitcoin. And today I want to share with you why I did what I did, how I did it, and where I think my investment will take me over the next year. So having said that, let's just start the video. Oh God, new set. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's just get right into the video. So first we'll talk about how my investments are spread out amongst all the different investing platforms and what I use. Then we'll talk about why I did it. Then step by step I will show you how I did it and then where I think it's gonna take me. And then we'll close out the video with some of the risks involved in making this sort of an investment because I don't want anyone to think that this is a get rich quick scheme. It is not. You are not gonna become a millionaire overnight. That's not how this works. And if you're thinking about investing like this, you should absolutely know what the risks are. So here's my portfolio right now. It's sitting at around $191,000 and it's made up of about 7.5 Bitcoins and 120 Ethereum. And right now I also have $10,000 in my Gemini account that is set to be invested at $2,000 every single day until it is fully invested. So that's what I've been doing. And if you've been living under a rock, you might have missed this new revolution called Bitcoin. And a more technical way of describing what it is it's a peer-to-peer digital currency that is both immutable and decentralized. And in more normal person terms, it means that I can send you Bitcoin, you can send it to me from anywhere in the world, anytime we want, without having any government or company being able to stop us because it is decentralized and not owned by anybody. We as a public have access to something called a public ledger where we can see exactly how that money is being spent and how it's being sent around the world. It's basically cash for the internet at this point, and it's since evolved into something like a digital gold. So that's what I've been doing, and now let me share with you exactly where I think that investment is gonna go. And this graph shows us everything we need to know. So this right here is an ascending, descending, triangle wedge pattern Fibonacci sequence that shows us that Saturn will circle around the sun twice where it will meet with Jupiter, and on January 4th, 2021, BTC will moon. Just kidding. All I know is that January 4th, it's gonna be my birthday and that I'm just not smart enough to understand technical analysis and analyze all these different chart patterns, so I'm not your guy for that. But I can tell you a really simple and easy way of looking at this investment mathematically that's gonna make a lot of sense. Here it is. The maximum supply of BTC at any given moment is at 21 million coins. And according to the Global Wealth Report, the United States household wealth right now is at approximately $112 trillion. So let's assume for a second here that 1%, just 1% of the United States is going to be interested in purchasing BTC. That would put that $112 trillion at $1.2 trillion, right? Because 1% of 112 is 1.2. So if we divide that interest number of the amount of people wanting to buy BTC at $1.2 trillion worth by the amount of maximum supply of Bitcoins, which is 21 million, we get $57,142 per coin. And that is very close to Mike Novogratz's prediction that Bitcoin will be in the 60s by the end of 2021. Now, what's interesting is that if we get a 2% interest in the population, the price of that doubles to roughly $114,000. Now, right now, in the entire world, there are approximately 46.8 millionaires. If we divide that by the 21 million supply, that means that less than half of all the millionaires in this world will ever even get to own one single whole Bitcoin. But now let's apply that same math to not just the United States, but also the entire world. So with that, that's about $400 trillion. And if we get just 1% of the world interested in buying Bitcoin, let's say between 1 to 2% only, that would represent between $4 to $8 trillion worth of money. And if we divide that amount of interested money by the $21 million max supply, we get a coin estimate of between $190,000 to $380,000 per coin. Now that scenario is a lot less likely to happen over just the next year by the end of 2021. But over the course of 5 to 10 years, that could very easily happen. And I think that's kind of interesting because we've reached a market cap of around $325 billion. And at the time of me making this video right now, each coin is priced around $17,769. But by the time you are watching this video, each coin could have easily dropped in value significantly or increased way up, but that's not the point. Because price aside, there have been some really interesting developments in this space. Like for example, the amount of wallets that hold at least $10 or more has been significantly increasing since the last bull run in 2017 at the peak of the hype. Because in 2017, we had a peak of around 8 million wallets that had $10 or more. And now in 2020, that number is closer to 18 million wallets. That's all in addition to the fact that PayPal recently announced that they were accepting cryptocurrency. Also, Fidelity, a huge broker this year, announced that they were creating their own Bitcoin ETF. Even though for now it's only really for rich people, but as more brokers enter the space, they're going to create their own cheaper alternatives. Also, Square, which is owned by Twitter's Jack Dorsey, announced $50 million that they bought of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, $425 million. And finally, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust recently announced that they have nearly 450,000 Bitcoins valued at roughly $8 billion. On top of that, Stanley Druckenmiller, a very wealthy hedge fund manager, recently revealed he has Bitcoin in his portfolio. Mexico's second richest man, billionaire Ricardo Salinas Pliego, revealed that he owns 10% of his net worth in Bitcoin. And Ray Dalio, one of the world's most respected investors, also revealed that he still doesn't own Bitcoin, but now he's uncertain about his own skepticism, so he's trying to get Twitter to prove where he might be wrong, and that is awesome. Even Mike Novogratz is starting to get Hollywood involved in investing in Bitcoin, so he got Maisie Williams, the actress who played Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, to buy Bitcoin. So she tweeted, "Should I go long Bitcoin?" The only thing we're missing here is if Elon Musk tweeted something way random and out of context like, "Toss a Bitcoin to your Witcher." Oh wait, he actually did do that. But all jokes aside, an analyst from Citibank just recently predicted that he thought the price of Bitcoin would go to $318,000 before the end of next year. To be fair though, he also thought the price of gold would literally be twice where it's at right now, so he was totally wrong on that front, so take that info with a grain of salt. But that's not even the point. The point is that more and more legitimate people are starting to talk about it. Corporations are converting a part of their balance sheet into this asset. Hedge fund managers are making this a staple part of their portfolio. New investments and products are being created around BTC almost every single month, and at this point, the writing is on the wall. Bitcoin is here to stay. But regardless of what the price is today, it will almost certainly be worth a lot more in the near future. And for that reason, and a lot of other ones, I'm averaging into it and buying it even at $17,000 a coin. So now let me show you exactly which platforms I'm using to invest and how I'm doing it step by step. Now I know this might seem like very basic information to some of you, but I'm very basic with how I learn and I have to see something step by step before I understand it. So here it goes. The thing I use to buy and sell my cryptocurrency is with Gemini, and then once I purchase it, I will then send it to BlockFi, where I will keep it there, and it earns me up to 8.6% annual compound interest, which I know is insanely high and it's pretty cool. I'm not paid or sponsored to promote any of these platforms, so here's a few alternatives for you to look into. If you don't want to use Gemini, you can use Coinbase or whatever you like. If you don't want to use BlockFi, then you can also look into Celsius.network or Nexo.io. Those are all amazing platforms. But for me, I like Gemini because I've been using them forever and because they keep 95% of their currencies in a cold storage and they are regulated by the book, and I love that. And I also use BlockFi because they are backed by some of the biggest players in the industry like Winklevoss Capital and Coinbase, which again are some of the biggest players in the industry. So that's what I use, but please use whatever you're most comfortable with. So once I connect and transfer USD from my bank, I buy the coins from Gemini, and then I click transfer, withdraw from Gemini, scroll down to BTC, hit continue, and where it says transfer to, I paste my code from BlockFi, which I get by going to BlockFi, clicking deposit, selecting crypto, then clicking Bitcoin. At which point I click that button which automatically copies the code for me, and that's what I paste into Gemini to send the money over to generate interest. Now for most people, that alone is just way too complicated to follow and they just won't get involved, which also means that there's a lot more room for growth in this industry. But I don't blame people, because if any one digit is wrong, if there's a space somewhere in between these digits, then potentially tens of thousands of dollars could go to the wrong address where you will almost certainly never get them back. So if you want me to make more tutorial videos about this, please let me know in the comments section down below. But if you do want to start investing like this, then please consider the risks first. Now there's lots of brokerages that allow you to buy and sell your cryptocurrency, and some of the more popular ones are phone apps like Robinhood, and that allows us to buy and sell crypto for free, which sounds great. And as much as I love Robinhood and I've been using them forever, unfortunately I don't recommend using them to buy and sell your crypto just yet, because they still don't support depositing and withdrawing your crypto. And this is extremely important, because when you're buying Bitcoin on Robinhood, what you're actually buying is a derivative or a promise that you'll have access to a Bitcoin, but you don't have full control because they don't show you your private key, which appears as this string of random numbers and letters. Because by having this key, you're allowed to then send your crypto to another exchange or to another website like BlockFi, for example, that will start earning you interest. And that's important, because without that, you have to first convert your coins back to the dollar, send your dollars to another broker, then convert it back to Bitcoin, and all of this is extremely tedious and potentially very expensive. So one of the first few risks is one of transparency and control. Make sure you have control. Another risk is price manipulation by so-called Bitcoin whales. These are people that own a ton of Bitcoin, because right now, 95% of Bitcoin is controlled by only 2% of addresses. And that means if you don't like to see your money drop in half overnight, then Bitcoin might not be for you. Another thing to watch out for is to make sure that you have complicated passwords and you're not using something like password 123, and that you enable two-factor authentication via a third-party app like Google Authenticator. I made a tutorial video on how to do this. It's really simple to do, but it's extremely important. So there's a lot of risks involved, whether that's a mistake that you make or through no fault of your own, like an exchange gets hacked, and there's not much you can do about it because this space is not SIPC regulated or FDIC insured, and for all those reasons, if that money disappears, then there's no guarantee that you'll ever get your money back. So please invest only what you are willing to lose. Please don't gamble your entire net worth on any single asset class, no matter how much it promises to make you rich. And even though I super strongly believe into my investment thesis with Bitcoin, it's the reason why I'm not investing most of my money into it, even though I love it. And it's the reason why, even if I'm wrong, and many billionaires and people much smarter than me are wrong, that most of our lives are not going to be significantly impacted if all of this money disappears. At the end of the day, my life won't be changed all that much. And for that reason, please use common sense. So I'll close out the video with what I think is the ultimate risk to Bitcoin. The last time I made a fully dedicated Bitcoin video was when I first started doing YouTube, and I had no idea what I was doing. Since then, I still don't, and nothing has changed. But in that video, I said that Bitcoin could go to $1 million by 2025. And in retrospect, I think that is way too ambitious, and it's not going to get that far that fast. But as long as we can continue innovating and regulating it properly, and if we can get together a Bitcoin ETF that is easily accessible by ordinary people with IRAs and 401ks, and as long as people understand the true value of Bitcoin rather than speculating on just the price alone, then we'll do really well, thanks to videos like this and thanks to CPOs like me, Chief Pumping Officers. But truly the biggest risk to Bitcoin is actually a black swan event. And for some people, that's more of a regulatory thing, right? So if the government bans the Bitcoin, then oh my gosh, bad things will happen. But if the US government bans it, then guess what? Switzerland would love to have you as a customer, because the whole world can't ban Bitcoin all at once. It's just not how it works. So as far as the human element risk of it, I don't think that's a concern. For me, a black swan event is one that is a technological risk. For example, something like a really massively powerful solar flare happening and sending us back to the 18th century. Or maybe we get quantum computing on a practical level where the SHA-256 cryptographic algorithm breaks and the safety of our keys become totally useless. So short of something like that happening that we can't foresee, I don't imagine what else could possibly stop Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general from playing an even bigger role in our lives just 5 to 10 years from now. But I would love to hear your thoughts on where I might be wrong, because I probably am. And if you'd like to get started with investing, you can get 3 free stocks with Webull by depositing $100. 2 of those stocks could be valued up to $1,600 each. You can get a 4th free stock from Robinhood. And if you want to go down the digital currency route, you can use this code right here, where you can get up to $250 of free Bitcoin. But please use common sense. This is not SIPC or FDIC insured, and there is a risk of loss. So having said that, you can follow me on Instagram. I post from time to time. You can join my free Discord group. Send me a letter in the mail. My mailbox is down below. Love you. Thank you so much for watching my video. I will see you back here on Monday and Friday, sometimes a Wednesday. Bye-bye.